Now back to one of our top stories. Hospitals and crematoriums are overrun in India due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Help has been pouring in from all over the world. One humanitarian organization with a chapter right here in New York is stepping up with donations of oxygen tanks and PPE as we speak. Manpreet Kaur, director and New York lead for Khalsa Aid, joins us now. And Manpreet, first talk about why the situation in India is so bad now. It seems they're experiencing what every other country experienced months ago.
So I think that the situation that people need to remember with India is that social distancing is a privilege. There are a lot of people that are essentially, you walk down the street, you're very unlikely to be able to social distance with 6 foot. You're living in closed, confined areas. So that aspect is very difficult to kind of maintain. There was a very strict lockdown right at the start of COVID, and that impacted the day laborers, the domestic home helps very, very significantly, and it was pretty drastic. Then the lockdown was lifted very quickly. The other thing to remember is that India is in the middle of an election cycle, and there are religious events that are going on. So these events are essentially thousands of people are attending these, and that is essentially part of that issue. And then you add on to that the hospital healthcare system, and the infrastructure just is not set up to deal with this sort of situation. And that's, a coming together of all these different things have just created the issue that we're seeing right now.
So our Emily Druby reported on this a little bit earlier in the newscast that these mass gatherings are going on. Why haven't they been stopped?
I think there's a lot of dynamics going on right now with, there are religious events. India is a very religious country. Right now, we're in that space of having those events. The other aspect is, as I said, that the administration has put out a message that COVID was cured with it was the first time round, it wasn't that significant in India. So there's a lot of that message going around that it's been cured, it's not an issue. And so the events have just carried on.
So why do you think it's taking so long for relief shipments to get delivered to India?
I think there's a lot of logistics that are involved. We have approximately 500 concentrators in New York ready to ship. And it's really just finding the space on the airlines to get them over there.
Wow. So what is still needed, and what can people at home do to help?
I think there's a lot of things needed. So right now it's the oxygen, it's the PPE, but in the long term, there are going to be long-term projects and long-term assistance. We're also assisting, people are passing away, and people are passing away within one family. So you have to consider the fact that there are going to be individuals that have nobody to carry out their cremation. So that's part of something that we're assisting with. You will have the long-term impact of all of these people passing away and the impact of their children, their families. There are those long-term projects, makeshift hospitals that we're setting up. It's a dire situation, and I think people at home, first and foremost, prayers. I think just offering your prayers and your thoughts to them, I think that goes a long way. Communicating and sending that message out so that everyone understands what's going on. And trying to, and I know people always ask about donations. It's really important that if donations are being made, that those are made to reputable organizations, and we don't have, anything kind of. And the other aspect to think about is if people are thinking about sending items over, really do your research about what works in India and what doesn't work.
All right, we're certainly sending our prayers to India. Manpreet Kaur, director and New York lead for Khalsa Aid. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
If you're watching Currents News on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell to get updates to all of our newest content, because we are putting your faith in the news.